Hi guys, so yes, I've come on. Yes, I know. Um 3:43 a.m. in the morning. I know. This is the second go as well. It's now 4:26 in the morning because I've been trying to put up these stupid videos and things keep crashing. Good old Mercury retrograde. I know. Um So, right, we've got you back up on here, guys. I am going to try and read through your questions, but there is an awful lot. Like I said previously, I want to get through. This isn't going to be a personal, like, tarot read. I'm not going to be doing any personal astrology. Any questions that you want to put, please put up as collective, because this is going to be what I'm going to be putting up on my page. It will be via YouTube, and obviously, and then going up onto Facebook. For those of you that haven't, can I just say, I'm just moving my chocolate bar. For those of you that haven't, can you please, if you would, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It'll be the best way that you're going to get the notifications that I've put up and posted on videos. Now, if I can't upload those from here onto the Facebook page, okay, you're not going to know unless I put it on there that that's where they are. So you won't be able to be watching any of the free videos that I'm posting. It's only going to get more difficult as I'm going to be honest, Facebook coming on to the near future, especially like things like that what I'm doing or other people that are doing are trying to encourage now for payment to be watching some of these videos, a bit like YouTube. So I'm going to be saying to you, if you want free content and you want to be watching it, the best way to enable me, and if I ever lose my Facebook page, is to be subscribing over that so you'll be able to watch them. It's getting more and more difficult for me to upload videos onto Facebook now, so especially in the way that I'm doing it, unless I'm going on to a different platform or different things, which is what a lot of people are now doing, onto certain like tarot sites and things like that, group sites, things like that. So please guys, if you want to watch videos and you want to see what I'm going to be doing, I would be at least like trying to support that by subscribing onto there so you can watch them and not just rely on me trying to upload videos onto Facebook. Okay, just asking. Right, so I'm going to go on to what I've been trying to try to try to upload, okay, onto the pages, all right, and get through some of this stuff that I've been promising you guys I will. I am going to try and do individual, well, not individual, but the earth, air, fire, water signs coming up, but this is a collective thing. There's going to be a few I'm going to try and put up, as I say. This one I'm covering now is going to be parts of this the eclipse cycles that we're going to be going through. We have got this Jupiter in Pisces aspect that I really want to be covering with you guys. And there's also, okay, this Saturn retrograde, this obviously Mercury retrograde, and we've also got this Venus retrograde, and we've also got this Pluto in Capricorn theme that has been going on that seems to have been a bit overlooked. Now, as I was saying, you will have noticed, and I keep banging on, yes, I know that you've noticed that I keep banging on about this whole thing about rewatching the videos that I've put back up. Now, the reason I've done that for you guys was purely because the cycle we're about going into now, and this period in particular, I know normally we have the Mercury retrograde cycles, okay, that are very common. Everybody's aware of them. We have them. They're not a misnomer. Everyone knows about them now. That we have, generally, we can have them quite often throughout the year anyway. It's just a reviewing process, okay, so where basically Mercury slows down, it'll be going merrily along, and suddenly we'll start having hiccups coming up about reviewing relationships, reviewing situations going on in our lives. Generally people don't like it because of things like transport, communication. It can be things to do with relationships, all sorts of things go a little bit haywire, okay. This, however, this time is going to be a little bit more awkward, okay, for all of us, purely because Mercury is actually going into, or stationary into, its own sign of Gemini, okay. Now Gemini is a mutable sign, okay. It's the twins, it's a duality, so we've got things like, we talk about the travel aspect, we're talking about the mercurial aspect, the way we think, the way we communicate. Gemini rules the hands and the feet, so it's our transportation, it's our coordination, it's how we, again, how we're articulating our process of thought, okay, back and forth, okay, sitting on the fence. Are we going forwards, are we going back? It's that mutable energy, not really sticking at things. We've got all of the things at the moment, as I say, with transport going on, computers, communication, diversity, our speech, our freedom of speech, what we're putting out there, what we're not putting out there, what we can, what we can't, okay. We've got a lot of things going on around divisiveness, segregation, political standpoints. We've got the things to do with separation, talking about the refugees, that type of thing, countries, separation, how we're viewing different things. There's a lot of things as well at the moment where the media are coming into the spotlight. We've just had all of the things to do with the BBC. We've got things to do with, again, about women's rights. We've got things going on around human rights, things going on about the refugees. We've got things going on about individuals, how they're seeing their sexuality. There's an awful lot as well to do with, at the moment, with children. Children seem to be very heavily featuring. Now, it was last year, there was a lot of things about the paedophilia rings, also to do with the police getting involved with different rings with that. There's been a lot of, I hate to say it, things with mental health around children, things to do with suicides may come back up, self-harming are coming back up, education coming back into the forefront. All of these things are going to be heightened, more heightened. Views on how the younger generation are being treated. I think these are going to be things that are going to be highlighted more as well. There's a lot of things that are going to be under review with this cycle, and some of them are going to be uncovering truths, especially around youngsters, new era, or not necessarily new era, but new generational points of view, how we're going to be doing, some of them being provocative, evocative, again, very out there, old versus new, new versus old, a bit more like, you know, the 60s, 70s kind of vibe about getting things put out there, but not really knowing how to platform it, not knowing how to kind of create it in the sense that how it's going to be received. There's going to be a lot now of things being uncovered, unearthed, things being put out there, very deceptive, not necessarily being receptive, okay, in the ways that are going to be necessarily all the time tasteful either. A lot of things I think from last year are going to be back in the headlines again, in terms of, again, around this transportation, a lot of the things to do with climate and environmental, a lot of things again like the protest things start coming back up again, and a lot of things to do with religious, spiritual things coming out in that way. For an example, things potentially could be around the Catholic Church. It can be things around the spiritual church, but it also can be back up again with this Islamic State thing. All of that uprising, as we've already seen, but it can be more religious butting of heads here as well. Things coming back up, Christian, Islamic, Catholic things under review again, all of this kind of stuff being stirred up again. Also again with things like with the sexuality, freedom of speech, all of the rights, everything coming back out again, being shook up again, coming back out again. Equally to do with that, where we're all going in terms with the travel, in terms of with the new variants being coming up. Not that we're really allowed to talk about all of that, but basically what I'm saying is it's going to be a big old shake-up and reviewing process of all of those things from before up to now again. Now, this is just the Mercury retrograde cycle, what we're going in. As I've said, we've come out of the sign of Taurus, okay? We're now going into this very mutable energy. Now, Pisces, as I say, in from where the sun's come out of the sign of Taurus, which was very stabilizing. We started to see things kind of like going forward, things opening up. Talking about our values again, where we sitting within our values, starting to feel better about ourselves. Okay, we haven't got a lot going on, but what we are building back up was about our self-esteem, was about maybe businesses opening back up or starting to see promise of that, where we've maybe been saving, or some people have been saving or investing in areas or new areas, thinking about, right, okay, how can I make this beneficial? How can I expand on some of my ideas? We're starting to feel better about, okay, the lockdown's been lifted, going back to work. Or do you know what? Whilst we've been in lockdown, we've been making this work. I'm seeing where things are now. I've got my eye on the prize. We're going to start going forward. And then, bang, we've had this retrograde coming back in. This whole reassessment again, just as we were getting back online, we were told actually no, we may now not be able to go. You know, we're going to have the lockdown slightly lifted, but the holiday thing was all under review. But we kind of really should have known that from last year, that it was never going to really happen, was it? We've got this Saturn-Uranus square, okay? and we've got, like I say, this this Jupiter going into Pisces. Now we've also got this Saturn retrograde, okay, which is kind of like where we've had this period of expansion, or this is where we're going to be heading now, okay, where things started opening up. We've got this Mercury going retrograde, okay, we've got Saturn going retrograde, okay, and then we've got this Saturn Uranus square. Now basically what this is going to do is cause us to be reviewing the progress that we've made up to now. Saturn going retrograde is going to cause a bit of a friction here, okay, because it's going to slow things right the way down, almost feeling like things are coming to a halt, okay. This massive reassessment of things, okay, and getting us to where we've come out of this Taurus grounded energy, the Jupiter was sent in Taurus, okay, where we were assessing all of the values, all of the qualities, all the things we liked, all the things that we didn't like, things that we wanted to stay, things we wanted to invest in, and how we felt about everything and how we were going to try and make this work, okay. We could start seeing things starting to take off. Now we're going to start seeing things come to a slow down and a gradual halt, okay. We're not going to see any more growth potentially for at least the next 3 to 4 months, maybe even beyond that, okay. We're where we are at that stage, at that kind of plateau. We're here. All right. Now, with this retrograde cycle, this is going to go back over, like I said, the whole of last year. We are reassessing everything coming up to this point. Hence, we've got the breaks are coming on. We've kind of like plateaued. We're at the stage where we are going, this is what we've got to work with. Okay, these are the tools in our bag. This is what we've got. This is what we've got to run with now for the foreseeable. We're just going to keep going along. We're going to just see where things are going to take us, okay? They're not going to go massively up. They're not going to go down. We're on this even keel, all right? What this is now going to get us to question, okay, is have we made all the best decisions up to this point, all right? Now, a lot of you, or including myself, even for everything that we've talked about, okay, up to this point about relationships, things that we've wanted to, we've kind of still tried to keep hold of, whether we've liked it or not, we're still trying to run with those things that we know are not necessarily good for us, okay. We're still struggling with making certain changes. We're still giving people the benefit of the doubt. We're still giving ideas the benefit of the doubt. We're still trying to maybe push agendas because, do you know what, I can't see anything better than that, all right. If I give up on that, what else have I got? Even though I know it's not working, it's not the best for me, okay. These aren't the best of decisions, or I'm going back to decisions even though I know they're not the best things for me, because I'm a bit worried about taking a gamble on the unknown, or that other option that I don't know how that's going to work out, okay. As I said, the majority of the things that are going to be under question, okay, are going to be children education, okay, evaluating and reviewing last year, health, education, innovation. We're going to be basically going between fantasy and reality, adapting and creating, okay? How we view escapism from overload of emotion, okay? What are we using? Like I said, and I was very honest about that. I don't know if some of you saw the earth sign reading that I did. At the end of the day, I knew myself. I was starting to reach when I was coming in from work, where I was struggling with shutting down, switching off, going to sleep at night when I was working like shifts. I was using alcohol to help me sleep, switch off. If I was coming in on different days and I was on my own, didn't really have anything particularly to do, I was getting into habits of, instead of having like a cold drink or another drink, sitting there, it became a normal just to just sit there and have brandy and lemonade or rum and lemonade. And before I knew it, it was getting into every single night, and then all over the weekend, opting, you know what I mean, for that. It became a habit. I was using it to use as a tool just to numb out, void out. And as I say, not that it was like saying I'm an alcoholic, but it was becoming something that actually it was preventing me from then doing the things that I wanted to do, because I was like, oh, sod it, I'm just gonna, you know. And at the end of the day, that's not, I'm gonna never drink again, because I do enjoy having a drink, but it's getting it into context and priority, and actually understanding that, you know, that it's not normal to be drinking every single day, or, you know, when you've got other things that you could be doing, and then saying I haven't got time for that. Well, actually I did, if I reorganised my time and actually what I was doing with it, is it a benefit or not? Okay, so it's just as an example, it's like reviewing, you know, what sort of things are we addicted to, what are we using as crutches, and what habits have we slipped into, what excuses are we telling ourselves, okay? What are we not recognising are things that are inhibiting us from creating the things that we want to do. What are we getting in our way? What obstacles are we putting in our way, okay? Self abuse, things that we talk to ourselves about, things that we say about ourselves, okay? There's also going to be things like exaggeration, how we exaggerate our flaws, other people's flaws. Some people might be like bigging up plans over, exaggerating, extravagance, or going too far with things, okay? Blowing things up, emotions, okay? Being overly trying to take too much control rather than allowing things to be let go. There's a lot of things about contradictions, contradictory energy, and I was saying this about last year. We're going to be going through this again, all right? For every plus, there's going to be a minus, okay? For every thing that that is a positive way of looking at things, there's gonna be the polar opposite. And a lot of this is going to come in the forms and guises of friendships, okay, and situations and scenarios that you are going to be coming up against. This is what I say about this whole of the next, coming to the end of the year. Everything that we are going to be going through, everything that we are going to be experiencing, we would have already experienced last year. Now, when I say this to you, you need to be looking back also from 2012, for those of you that it's going to be relevant for, okay? From the journey that you did from 2012 to now, and what significant, okay, aspects have happened and come up in your life over that. What patterns have emerged? What patterns are consistent in your life? Now, a lot of you might turn around and go, what a load of bullshit are you talking about? Now, like I said, because I'm going to talk about my own personal experience that I said to you about on that earth sign. Now, I'm not going into my personal details, but I'm just saying about, there was a couple of specific things that I said. What I was kind of getting at was where you learn to numb out, or those habits or things that you kind of use to avoid, distract, okay, rather than actually take the time to be self-examine, okay, you know, looking at where, for an example, that denial comes in, the self-deception, self-sabotage, denial, okay. Personal responsibility, okay, how we numb out, how we would point the finger at somebody else rather than actually, for an example, if say a relationship broke down, it's their fault. At the end of the day, the personal responsibility ends with you. You've allowed that situation to happen. How many times when we go back to the beginning, okay, could we have said this isn't right? Now this brings me on to this whole Jupiter in Pisces aspect, okay. This is very, very unique, a very, very unique placement coming in, because this is Pisces is the 12th sign of the zodiac, okay, and when we look at the zodiac, okay, the 12th house rules the outer realms, okay, the esoteric, the mind. It's about healing, spirituality, intuition. It's about emotion, sentiment. Pisces is usually about when you think about caregivers, okay, hospitals. It can be anything to do with empathy, as spirituality, mind, body, soul, okay. They say about you always think about musicians, poets, healers, anything like that. Usually people would go, oh, it's a Pisces, that daydreamy, whimsical energy, escapism. It can also be to do with addictions on the negative aspect of it, okay. Things to do with like I said about the psychedelic, tripping out, you know, how do I numb out? What would I do with that? What would I use? Now going back to what I was saying, I am a Pisces moon, and one of my things that I did as a recoil, okay, when I wanted to escape, when I wanted to get some kip, okay, wanted to just switch off, going through some difficult personal stuff, okay, what did I do? Reach for a drink. That's a typical thing that a Pisces will do. Drown out, numb out, okay. How can I escape from that? Now, it doesn't have to be drug addictions. It doesn't have to be drinking addictions. It can be things like, okay, gambling, shopping, overspending. It can even be to the point of, like I say, things to do with mental health, i.e. self-harming. Okay, it can affect the mind mentally, and these are things that are going to be coming up, cropping up more regularly. This can also be to do with sex addictions, okay. Things like, you may well be hearing about a lot more about paedophilia, sex addictions, rapes, okay, people coming out about certain things to do with that, once again, like we did last year. Now, this could also be to do with things like stalking people. That can be obsessional. It can be to do with murders, things out there, some really difficult stuff around children. I mentioned this earlier. A lot of these things could be coming back up for the forefront again, okay. And this is all around this Jupiter and Pisces theme about healing, expanding, about getting it out there, people to actually accept, okay, some really difficult and very different, dark, murky, not so nice energies here to come out, okay, for people to see, and how we go about actually trying to change things and understand, work with, and actually do something to try to work in ways with individuals and situations and make them somewhat better, okay, if you can, around those sort of things. But it's getting information out there, and it's learning to work with and getting people to understand and try to make I guess in a way where certain mental health places have closed down, hospitals have closed down, getting awareness out there. How do we readapt and create and work again with those niche things that we need to, okay. It's also within this with Pisces and Jupiter here, as I was saying, Jupiter expands, okay. Pisces is around this escapism kind of thing, spirituality. It could be, again, like I said, around relationships here, about where things are suffering. Again, how do we counsel our relationships? How do we counsel ourselves? Where can we work on things, and where can we just not, okay. There's going to be a lot here around stress and stimulation, okay. What brings around stress, what creates stress, how can we deal with and work with ourselves and others to eliminate some of these things that are coming up and creating unnecessary confusion, disruption, things that are not easy to deal with day to day. How can we make life an easier existence for all? Okay, a lot of this is going to be communicating, a lot of it's going to be demonstrating, a lot of it's going to be learning how to, again, empathize with each other. Some of it is just not going to go that way at all. Okay, it's going to be, this is far too fluffy around the edges for some people to deal with. And I go back to this like on two camps. Okay, the science, okay, and then the humanitarian. We're going to see a lot more of this, you know, left and right wing type thing. Okay, now I said I'll put that post up, okay, where I guess I'm trying to, this pain and angst, okay, which is what, for those of you that know about Kurt Cobain, the Nirvana, how it was all about that, the grunge underground is very all of the music, the whole way music changed through bands such as Nirvana, the you know, how the whole riff, the whole guitar, the whole drum, the whole sound, the everything that they stood for, you know, how they burst through. It was all that new, okay, that new energy. We'd been needing some kind of new music, and it was the lyrics that hit with a lot of youngsters at that time, myself included, when I was a youngster. It was all about that self-expression, that raw expression, and the pain that goes with all of that teenage years, the how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about society, how we feel about certain things, all coming through the music. This is what Pisces kind of like is representing with Jupiter, okay? All of the angst, all of the feelings, all of the uncomfortable stuff, all of the edge, all of the raw, all of those things that we suppress, okay? Mentally, what we may not communicate normally, this is all going to start coming out, okay? This is going to come out big style. All right, we can't keep a lid on it. And this is going to come out in terms of your relationships, in surprising ways. It's going to come out in ways that you've been repressing your own emotions and you didn't really know how you were feeling about stuff. It's going to come about from triggers, okay? You're going to realise how your values have suddenly changed, how you see things have completely changed. What did it for you in relationships prior, don't do them for you now, okay? There are going to be a lot of irksome things that are going to come along. Things that previously you tolerated, you no longer need to tolerate, or you won't tolerate. People are going to suddenly start saying no. Their needs are going to change. Things are going to come in where you're not even going to get the choice about things changing. Things are just going to come in and just like come from underneath you. The rug's going to get pulled out from underneath you. A lot, like I said, a lot of truths. Maybe you weren't aware of maybe certain deceptions that are going on. And I would say for those people that have been living or creating false truths, false narratives, living, do you know what I mean? Certain untruths, not being honest about things. These sort of things are going to start coming out. And if not with you, it may well be somebody else's truth will start coming out in terms of where your relationship dynamics just don't work anymore, or you've been trying to keep hold of things. Like I said, a lot of things now are just going to be starting to change beyond controls, okay? I'm gonna go on to, because I think a lot of this stuff is what I'm saying is kind of like stuff that I've posted up anyway, and it's kind of like repetitive. And as I was saying, you only need to go back over last year, and you're gonna start to see where themes are going to be playing out. Like I said, a lot of this is going to be loyalties. This is going to be playing out in relationships. It's not just like romantic relationships. It's going to be work colleagues, where agitations is going to start coming up, where you're going to notice discrepancies within relationships, where people may be doing more work than other people, pulling the weight for other people. Maybe there are things around your work colleagues that just, you know what, just rub you up the wrong way. Maybe it's you've outgrown certain situations within work, or things just aren't viable anymore within and around your work. It could be things like even just personal relationships. You know, people that have been drinking buddies, I don't no longer want to be doing that anymore. People that just take from you. Your values have completely changed within relationships now. Maybe suddenly you've become a parent, and actually that single life is no good anymore. Whatever it might be, there are going to be so many things that are going to come up that are personal and individual to yourself. If you look around your relationship dynamics, things that don't no longer work, around your home life, around your money, around your value system, about where you see yourself going forwards, where you certainly don't see yourself going back, how you're going to get yourself back on an even keel. But the thing is, most of us are going to have come from last year, been spat out the other end, and going to be tested about where we are going to be, and our faith remains about moving forward rather than going back to prehistoric things that we know are no good and just basically do not work. Okay,